you never really forget any conversation with Bob. And once you've got through the various expletives, he makes it pretty clear what he wants.
But Sir Bob Geldof, businessman, political activist, songwriter, user and author. An absolute legend, I'm sure. You can see the stats there, a stand for themselves. Please welcome, in your warm West Australian welcome for Sir Bob Geldof.
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously I'm very excited because today is International Women's Day, but wow, March the 11th, World Plumbers Day. I don't know about you, but hey, I'm really pumped. See, plumbers, pumped. See what I did? Yeah, I'm in there. There are no jokes really about your gig that are funny. There are only some sad and terrible truths about what it is you actually do and the structure that you build that allows us to function, allows society to function. But it is funny, I suppose, only because it is so horribly true. We are right now, I believe, in the historic moment of change. And we, us lot, and our kids are surfing, we're on the cusp of that change. It's a profound and world-altering and will probably determine society, politics and economics for the next few hundred years. A period that will be discussed probably in 300 years, except it's us who are having to live through it now. And it's not an odd thought. I mean, I defy anyone to look around the world and not see confusion, fear and mistrust. I'm 67, never before in this longish life have I felt the world more fragile or more vociferous, more at odds with itself, more of a lack of leadership than at any point in my life. And of course the truth that we're living to is that when leaders fail to live, then people will teach them to follow. Except it may not always be down the safest route. And when leaders fail to live, stand by for a reordering of global politics. And that's what you see every night on your television as the world reshifts itself around new structures. We know for a fact that nearly every civilization since it sprang up has tried to essentially do what you do, which is create sanitation, healthy conditions for society to function within. Without it, the thing falls apart. And that's what you're doing here today. All of this change occurs against a background of fundamental and existential environmental change. It's about 4.5 billion people. That is more than half the world population either practice open defecation or use unsafe sanitation. More than half of us? That's insane. Poor sanitation is the cause of more than 1,200 deaths for children under 5 per day. Per day. 1,500. To put that in perspective, that's more than AIDS, TB and malaria combined. Here in Australia, some of your fellow countrymen are living in remote communities where decent plumbing and the benefit it brings are luxuries only to dream of. Clean water for drinking and washing is a fundamental necessity for human health, as is effective sewage to remove dirty water and human waste. The lack of proper sanitation costs the world an estimated 223 billion every year. That's because every dollar spent on sanitation provides at least $5 in economic return. Now apply that to some of the remote communities here. Then the lack of turning on those brains and realizing the self, even if you don't measure in pure economic terms of GDP, but in terms of human value, is extreme. And I put it to you that possibly with the ingenuity in this room alone, with the organisational structure that you've got here, why aren't the Aussies putting in these inventions, these reimaginings of what sanitation must be if we are to stop the collapse of communities and cities and general environmental harm? Consequences of what you do, the consequences of what you think of on a daily basis could radically alter how we manage not just the structures of our society, but of the entire global environmental system. And it's pretty clear that that needs to be addressed now. Well, I didn't know until I was asked to do this, is a global organisation spanning all the industry that works in this, because the potential power of this, beyond the needs of working with the remote communities in this country, the potential power of what you guys belong to is truly shattering.